Norway spiral. Okay, but the one thing that people are missing, and this is why I don't rule out the Russian rocket right away, and that is the cloud of Care. Mm-hmm. Now, most people miss the cloud of Care, and even the news did not know what the cloud of Care was. Now, on September 19th last year, from the Mars facility, now Mars is the god of war, our new space program is going to be called Ares, which is Mars, which is the god of war. So, even symbolically, we are going to a wartime space program. And Mars is the Mid-Atlantic Regional Spaceport there in Virginia. It's also known as the Wallops Flight Facility. And usually what is launching out of here is, well, actually, there's only been a few launches from there, but they launch Minotaurs, which launch technical TAC satellites. TAC-SATs and CubeSats get launched from Minotaurs out of there. But it came across my notes from Rosalind Peterson over at California Skywatch that there was going to be this other launch called the Cloud of Care. So I began tracking it and following it. And you can see the news reports as I follow it, as it got delayed in its launch and things. So I have that all backed up under Space War News on my site. The CARE program was called the Charged Aerosol Release Experiment. And what it was a Black Brant rocket launching up out of Virginia. And what it did was explode an aluminum oxide cloud into the upper atmosphere at about 180 miles. Now, this is right about the level of the magnetosphere. Mm-hmm. And they launched this, and their reasoning for launching and releasing an aluminum oxide cloud up into the upper atmosphere was to determine the amount of incoming particles from rocket launches. Which kind of seems like a catch-22. Let's emit a bunch of rocket particles to see how many rocket particles are coming down, right? But the curious thing is that no one knew about this launch except for those that were, tracking chemtrails, tracking these type of anomalies, and watching as these things erupt. Now, if we could play the news clip that occurred that day from Virginia to show you that the effects were nearly identical to the Norway spiral minus the spiral.
Let's cue up the clip and have a listen to that.
We should have replaced the news music with the X-Files theme.
Yes, that would have been very apropos.
Because viewers from all over our region called into 69 News tonight reporting a strange sight in the sky.
A lot of calls from Allentown and Bethlehem all the way to Berks County. Everyone calling in describing the same thing. So WFMZ's Stephanie Esposito joins us live now in Bethlehem Township with more on the details of that story. Stephanie.
Hi, John and Karen. Well, at first we thought it was a joke, but so many people described it the same way. Many of them believed that what they saw tonight in the skies was a UFO.
We were just walking, talking, that sort of thing, and I kind of looked up in the sky. There was a big white, an orb, almost like a tiny planet, and all of a sudden this big ray came out of it, it was all white.
And all of a sudden there was a beam that came down from it. It was white and bluish, and then all of a sudden it just looked like the sky sucked it up and the sky just closed.
Reports from Bethlehem to Berks County.
Well, I keep thinking of the movie E.T.
Something unusual took place in the sky tonight.
I would never have had time to take a picture of it. It was just so...
It disappeared.
It disappeared. The sky ate it.
So far, 69 News has not been able to obtain a picture, but we did get multiple witness reports. We've contacted the Lehigh Valley Airport and local communication centers. Everyone said nothing was happening. Now, a lot of times people will hear things like this and they'll say, oh, it was a weather balloon or it was a shooting star. Is there any other explanation?
No, that was not a shooting star and it was not a weather balloon.
One thing is for sure, tonight people are asking themselves, do I believe?
I don't know if I believe in that kind of thing.
Now, some people have pointed out that it's a strange coincidence. Today's date is actually 9/19/09, if you want to put any weight on that. But regardless of what people believe, a lot of people are asking themselves tonight, what was that up there? And they really are just saying everyone agrees they've never seen anything like it before.
Okay, there we go. So what we can say is that, just as you pointed out, Freeman, is that the people who watched this from the ground, and even some of the news reporters there, went to the UFO story right away. This is a UFO because, just as you pointed out, no one seemed to know what was going on there and have any data about this test of care, right, Freeman?
Yes, exactly. That is the critical issue here too, is that, all right, now I stood my guns. People kept asking me, what's the next 9/11? What's the next 9/11? Of course, this was after my 10/13 prediction. And I'm saying it's asteroids. And people are going, well, that doesn't quite fit my worldview. Asteroids, what's going on? Well, but after UFO, or after asteroids, the prediction was that it was going to be alien invasion. And so this was Wernher von Braun telling us we're going to have the Red Scare, we're going to have terrorists, then we'll have asteroids, then we'll have aliens. So as I started to track this and we started to watch this same scenario going on back in December of 1999, a large meteor came in over the HAARP facility, directly over the facility, exploded in the atmosphere, causing a sonic boom and an earthquake 3 hours later in Anchorage, Alaska, December of 99. So I began to track these things. Sorry, I got lost on the news story. Let's get back to that when we can catch up with the incoming asteroids. Mm-hmm. Okay, so when we're looking at this news story and they're interviewing the people, we start to see that they're describing very much a similar event as the Norway Spiral. Many people, when they're looking at the Norway Spiral, are asking, what was that black hole that opened up in the sky?
Yes.
And that this is the reason that they say this is not a rocket. Now, if we go to Richard Hoagland, EnterpriseMission.com, we see him proving that it was a rocket launch because he finds the rocket trail. But at the same time, he's still not convinced that it was a rocket or a missed rocket launch. So everybody's very confused on this, and I think that because they missed the cloud of care, they don't see the effect beforehand. Mm. Now, what has happened when we're launching an aluminum, and another favorite part of my news article, that news story, is when they go, and this happened on 9/19/09. Some may find significance in this, as if that was news, and as if they knew anything about doing numerology or specific dates. They're obviously not watching Freeman because they didn't know about the cloud of care. So what did they know about 1909, right? I just found that very humorous. But what we find them is describing the very same effects, the bright flash in the sky, opening vortex in the night sky, and a blue beam coming out of this. Now, Dr. Dimphel, who was a lead scientist looking into the Norway Spiral, clearly stated that what we were looking at was an aluminum oxide cloud. And what was coming down, the reason it was a blue spiral was that aluminum oxide's chemical formula is sapphires. Mm-hmm. And so we're seeing sapphires being reflecting in the sunlight. And that would explain the blue.
Yeah.
And so what I'm saying is that we have a coupled energy field going on. So we have the rocket launch, which I don't know where it came from, whether it was the Russians did admit to the launch, but then did not connect it to the Norway Spiral.
Right.
So if we're looking at an aluminum oxide cloud being launched up in the atmosphere and then twisted with the ISCAT, because we know that HAARP does bullseyes in the sky. You can look at graphs showing the type of spiral pattern that these ultra-low radio frequency waves transmit. But what's going on is the bigger question that none of us seem to be able to answer because we just don't know enough at this time. And what frightens me is that when we're looking at these events and everyone like Hugo Chavez, the Russian military, screaming HAARP Haiti, without the knowledge of the other ionospheric heaters. And then same with the Norway Spiral, everyone's trying to bring UFO disclosure into this. This was extraterrestrial in some sort without having the knowledge of the charged aerosol release experiment.
Yeah.
So I've come to you, first of all, just to get this out to the people that there was the cloud of care. You can go look at the video on my site and you can see that it was identical minus the spiral.
Right. And there were similar things in China and or was it Japan? I can't remember now. Somewhere in Asia, they had a similar spiral shape happening as well. This was before the Norway spiral, I think. And but I mean, basically the thing we can point out here as well is that the IceCat facility is